Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike, and today I'm going to talk to you about the Super 7 Ultimates Wave 9 Thundercats. And I've got to say that this is a pretty solid wave. There are some good things about this wave. There are some toy repaints in here. There's some very important characters, but we're going to get into talking about this. But in the background, you see the Catslair. Is this more information? Are these details about the Catslair in these pictures? And is there a really huge feature? We're talking huge, the size of the Catslair feature involved in this. Is this confirmed? We'll talk about this and more coming up. So first off, I want to talk about this Wave 9 and go into each character and just give you my thoughts real quick about each one of these. And then we'll get into some of the Catslair discussion, because that's pretty exciting too. But I do want to point out, if you go to Super 7's website and you pre-order this and prepay in advance, what is it, 8 months? Because it's supposed to be out in April or something like that. Then you get the extra heads that are in there, the eyes glow. I'm not a huge fan of what they're doing here because I don't want to pay up front for these. I like the way BBTS does it. I like going through BBTS, but obviously Super 7 makes more money if they sell it directly to you, so that's why they're doing that with this super pack of heads. First off, we're talking about Chilla. She's one of the Lunatics. We really do need Lunatics, and this is really exciting to get this. These characters have never been made in true toy form officially. There's a lot of customs out there that look really good though, and I'm seeing customs show up of Lunatics since Super 7 started announcing Lunatics like crazy. People selling off their customs to get sort of an official figure. But this comes with 2 alternate heads, a smirking head, a blowing frost head with removable frost piece. There's 7 interchangeable hands, as you can see. Really no reason to go over all that. There's a soft goods cape, purse, antifreeze, ice collar, grenade, and a spray can. So a lot of really cool stuff that's going on with this. A lot of great features here. She looks really good. So here she is in the packaging. As we know, it doesn't always match the packaging the way the render is, because sometimes there's 2 layers of the trays and some stuff's in the back, some stuff's in the front. But still, just kind of a mock-up here, digital mock-up, digital render, showing that this is all still pretty much digital render form, which does kind of suck. So I do want to say this about Super 7 is you're pre-ordering something and at times paying for it, and the blue on the moon crest on her chest might not match when this comes out. We'll see. It'll be fun to see if it matches. Pretty cool looking blast effect she got on her finger there, so that's really interesting. That's pretty cool. But we're gonna slide back to this picture because the Catslair behind it has something that I think is a feature, and this picture shows it the best out of all of them, but we'll be back to this here in a bit. Of course, we got to have Wily Cat. If we're going to get Wily Kit, we got to have Wily Cat. And this is a very necessary figure. The past ones with Mattel were SDCC exclusives, making them really hard to get, and the set of Kit and Cat were pushing $300 on the secondary market. So $55 for this. A lot of people would say, well, it's a small figure and just accessories, it's not worth it, all that. But definitely a worthwhile character, and I'm a-okay with $55 versus having to pay, well, so it's $110 for the pair versus $300. And then the Mattel ones are coming down in price because of this, but I don't really think they're the same ones. We're going to get into that. I don't think this is just exact reissue of Mattel. But it comes with the Wily Cat figure. It comes with 2 alternate heads, neutral and smiling, 9 interchangeable hands. We don't really need to go into all of that, but one of the sets of hands has what they call the throwing hands, so pellet hands or whatever. It's got lasso, slingshot, hoverboard, and hoverboard base, and it is articulated, as you can see, on a ball joint. So here's the fun digital mock-up. I'm almost sure that surfboard is going to be in the back, and that would make a lot more sense. But anyway, this is what it might look like in the packaging, and so not too much reason to dwell on this. Here is his picture with, is it showing us something about the upcoming Catslair? Are we going to get this extra piece that looks like a runway or a ramp in front of the Catslair? Or is this just sort of a fantasized kind of element that's not going to be included with the Catslair, so nobody really knows? This is Everything's speculation at this point, but it's also digitally inserted, so we actually don't know if this will help us with size and scale. So there are some issues with using the Catslair in the background, but still really exciting. All right, so the big question is this the same base figure? And I don't think so. Looking at a picture of the Mattel one on the right and on the left is Super 7, you get to see a few elements that are different. Obviously, it's easy to just put a different head on there. The head does look different. Super 7's looks smoother and Mattel's looks more grainy, like there's more grain to the head. And then if you look at the neck's longer on the Mattel one, shorter on the Super 7 one. And then if you look at the shirt/skirt, kilt, whatever you want to call his outfit, it's longer on the Super 7 one than it is on the Mattel. And then getting down to the legs. Now the legs look really identical, but of course different colors and all that. But are they the same? Is it the same? Or are they completely redoing this thing from the ground up? It's really hard to tell exactly, especially because they're not in the same poses. But I think it's completely new from the ground up because they just don't have access to the molds from Mattel anymore. I think at this point, they're completely separated from Mattel. It was kind of taken over from Mattel at the beginning, and now it's just completely separated. It's a whole different thing, whole different mold. That's my guess. Now I want to get into talking about the toy recolors, so we're going to first talk about Jaga. Now this one is, I guess you could say, controversial. Some people are probably going to feel like this is a waste of a slot. We already have a Jaga. Why make it in the toy colors? This is a cash grab. And we could keep going on and on and on with all of these topics here, but here's the way I look at it. I don't think this is truly taking a slot from another character. I think that Super 7 Ultimates for $55 is expensive. I think they're really $30 figures, especially when you have as few accessories as they're putting in with this one. But if you want to get a vintage LJN version of Jaga, he's pushing $200, sometimes $250, if you have the helmet and all that kind of stuff. So I felt like this line is a substitution. You could get a Jaga for your LJN. If you're an LJN collector and say, I don't want to spend $200 on a Jaga, get this for $55, and that's fine. I felt you could have done that with the original one. You can do that with this toy color one, and that's fine. Usually these toy color ones are made in smaller quantities, but now that he's included as part of Wave 9, I don't think that's going to be the case. So this may be a hyper clearance item down the road, but as it stands, the current toy ones are hard to find, and they're selling out quick. Here he is in the packaging, and just extra hands, extra head, and a sword. Very minimalistic on extra accessories. Worth the $55. No, it's a $30 figure, but it's a $55 price point to replace something that could cost you $200, $250 if you're an LJN collector and you just don't want to spend that. Yeah, if you don't want to spend $250 on the LJN one, Jaga's showing you stop. But does this show how big the Catslair is? We don't know. We'll talk about that here in a bit, but I think he looks good. I think this is a decent release. I'm curious about production quantity numbers, and I think the other ones that they made in Wave 6, I believe, are produced in much lower quantities because the toy ones are not as sought after as the cartoon accurate ones. Now we're into Grun the Destroyer, and I really feel like this is a really awesome looking figure, but the vintage LJN one is not really that expensive. I've seen them go complete for $30 not too long ago. So it's not like the Grun the Destroyer LJN one is Jaga where he's $200 something. So as a replacement, I would say just go get the LJN one if you're doing LJN. I think this looks cool. I think it'd be fun to get. I definitely don't feel like it's worth more than $30, but it's $55. And so with that, this thing is probably going to be a clearance item. I mean, I get 2 years down the road. We don't even get this till April, so it's one of those things that it's cool, and I like it, and I'm definitely picking one up, but I'll pick a second one up when they go on clearance. That's my philosophy on it. Here's the packaging, and so the weird thing is the packaging was different, I believe, on the first go-around. I've got a set of the toy ones, and I haven't opened them yet because I was kind of hoping to find like a cheap toy set loose down the road or something. I haven't found that yet, but this is still pretty cool looking. But I think the packaging shouldn't it look different because of the fact that it's in this this toy deco? I mean, it does sort of look more like the toy, but it looks like all the other ones in the wave. Now here he is standing in front of the stairs. Now, in all of the pictures that we've seen so far, the stairs look small. The stairs look really small in all of these lightened up pictures and all that. So could this Catslair be bigger than I was thinking? Because the stairs don't look that big to me when you're looking at the Catslair. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. And also, his weapons, the LJN ones, weren't that shiny. They weren't shiny at all. It was just kind of like a standard gray silver plastic. But this is a shiny, hyper shiny silver. That's pretty cool. But I do want to point out, side by side here, look how tiny those stairs look on this Catslair. And look how big they look behind him. Now, I don't know if they superimposed the digital render over the digital render right, but that's kind of looking like it's going to be a massively huge Catslair. Massively huge. I'm still thinking 38 inches tall, so I guess that does line up with 38 inches tall, but wow, that's big. Using my high-tech Photoshop skills that I have been highly trained at... Yeah, right. I don't use Photoshop much. This isn't even Photoshop, it's Krita. People have pointed out to me that these sections here are hinges, or possibly hinges, for a closing back piece, so that it would open up like all the other playsets. Open up. I was under the assumption it's going to be just one giant chunk of playset, and you just turn it around. But people have been telling me that it's been confirmed that there's rock formations that open out. And I was like, I don't see any evidence of that. But then when they pointed these hinge section pieces out, like if you were going to make it to just be one giant huge chunk piece, why would these hang off the sides? Why would that even be in the digital render? Why would it not just be a nice clean front, a nice clean elevation, as the architects would say? Looking at this, so then these pictures kind of prove that might be true. Now, before I show the picture again and go into it, why would they include that? Because in the show, in the original cartoon and animation, there is rock formation in the back. It is kind of backed up to a mountain. It's built into the side of a mountain, or however you want to call this. It's very amazing looking the way that they did that in the show, and trying to bring the show to life is what Super 7 is doing. I commend them for that. So let's see what we see in these pictures. I think this picture here shows it the best, but you look at the rock formations, the mountain on the sides, and the fact that it's not just butted up to it. If you look to the left, there's a gap, and it even looks like with that gap, it looks like there is a connecting piece, reality starting to collide with digital renders, and from this angle it looks like it could be opening up and literally just stopping where they would close. Now that's all, maybe that is digitally planted in just to look good, and it's not going to be an opening closing rock formation. But I'm not the first one to have thought of this. People have been saying this in my comment section, and I kind of doubted that it was something they would do, but then I start thinking, wait a second, here's almost another bit of proof. When they gave us this render, I'm like, why did they zoom it in so close? Because if they bring it out just another inch, you could start to see the hinges of this. It's a possibility. I'm not guaranteeing anything. Speculation's kind of fun. I don't really know if I like this much level of speculation having to go on, but again, I think the big reveal on this, to know all the details and every aspect of it, is going to be at SDCC, which is coming in really coming soon. So it's not that far out to get all of the details, the pricing information. I think it's going to be $650. That's my guess. I think it's going to be 38 inches tall. I am hoping now that they do have the opening rock formation. And again, why would I think that's something that they would include? Well, not only does every other playset seem to follow that, well, you open it up and it's bigger, there's more elements of play, but also there's Snake Mountain. So when they made their Snake Mountain, it opened up, but when it opened up to what felt like right. Like it should be displayed open. Whether you're showing it from the front or the back, you just really don't want to display it closed. But But you can display it closed, and it would look fine closed. But it looks like the full playset when it's open, and from the inside, it looks even better. Just amazing. And so I'm starting to feel like they're taking the same elements of this, instead of having two big shells that open up, splitting the back shell into half, or maybe even like two third quarters that overlap. I don't even know. I don't know what's going to go on with it. Or it might still just be one solid chunk of playset. Who knows? But Grun is showing that this is going to be huge. It's going to be a massive playset, bigger than I originally thought. Well, I originally thought 38 inches tall. I still am sticking with 38 inches tall. That's how tall around ballpark of the Snake Mountain. And of course, if anything proves anything, the Thunder Tank itself was way bigger than LJN. So just remembering that the Thunder Tank is so much bigger, this one's probably going to be way bigger than the LJN. The LJN one measures up to 23 inches tall. But what do you think about this Thundercats Catslair? What do you think about this Wave 9? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Try to hanger out.